Listener discretion is advised.
Let's go!
All right. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah!
And forget to light their candles.
It's lit now.
Yeah. It's
Thank God.
you light it at the exact same time every time.
There's always and either I forgot to light my candle or Ray without fucking fail.
It's early. Ray's coming, I'm sure.
We are consistent.
She coming down the mountain.
Yeah.
She coming round the mountain.
Oh. Anyway, who are we?
Oh, fuck it. I'm Kenyon.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda. We're
Everything's
doing
fine.
it.
And this episode, I think, comes out in 2022, right?
It's 2022 somehow.
Somehow.
Somewhere.
Somewhere. Oh, the
It's
last
2022 somewhere.
two episodes also come out in 2022.
Oh, okay.
It's still 2022 for you people.
Congratulations.
God damn it. Why?
For many of you, it's been 2022 for some time.
Oh.
Still 2021 in our brains.
Yep.
Okay.
It's still 1998 in my brain.
Oh,
know,
1,000%.
God.
Time
Oh
has
my
stopped
God.
for me and also sped up somehow.
When I went to that Jack Harlow concert and everybody was 20 years old and dressed like a Spice Girl, the lady
You'd be nothing without us.
the lady in front of
Seriously.
the lady in front of me in line to get a drink was like, God, I feel so old, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I know everybody is judging me for being born in the 90s. And I was like, I was born in the 80s.
You
That
got
is
ma'amed.
a hate crime.
I did. I got ma'amed. Fucking Christ. Okay.
Well, I hated it.
All right. Well, whatever. Fuck it. I might have to go on a criminal spree.
Oh, you don't say.
Which is the very special fan pick topic this week, brought to you by our very special fan picker, Alexis Lee.
Love it,
And-
Lexus.
I love that song so much.
I know.
And Alexis has dedicated this episode to her late friend, Amber.
Oh,
And we
Amber.
will get to it.
Amber
Amber.
Atkins.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're covering Amber.
I am covering Amber, and she was a beautiful jewel gem of a person. And
God
it's
bless.
really, really fucking sad and senseless what happened. So we will get to it. But first, let's get a little lubed up.
Well, considering the sadness of where you're headed, I'm happier with my wine pairing now.
Okay.
I was already really happy with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm even happier with it now. We're all struggling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact of life.
Yep.
I feel like I'm 8 seconds away from a criminal spree at any moment in time. And with all of the ongoing projects we have as a business, it just feels like there's a spree of activity happening. And what better spree of activity and what better way to honor a friendship like that of the fan picker and their dear friend Amber than by drinking our wine that we made together as friends. And that we made drink
Did
together
make this together.
as
We literally did. We literally blended it together on a drunken Zoom call
Yup.
with the vineyard guy, and he was like terrified.
And he was
We
like,
were alive.
can I
Bottled
back
it.
out of this partnership? And we were like, no, you already signed the paperwork. Deal with it.
You locked in.
You're locked. So I'm glad that this is what I grabbed because I love this red blend so much. This is the Gals Red Blend. It is a partnership that we have ongoing with an incredible company out of California called Blentique. And you can buy these wines on your internet device by just heading to our website and clicking that wine tab. We do have new wines coming, but this red blend is like exquisite
It's amazing.
and perfect. So why would we change
really
it?
crushed it.
We really, really did.
We gently crushed it.
Yes, and we
Get
pressed it.
Oh, gently pressed. There we go.
Either way, crushed, pressed. This is 40% Syrah, 40% Grenache, and 20% Merlot. This is a nice fruit forward, like it's a complex and very sophisticated red, but it's super drinkable. It's fruit forward, it's jammy, but it's really well balanced. It finishes nice and dry. What? Why are you laughing at me? I'm doing a really good job.
Kenyon did something, and I'm not
What did
sure
you
what
do?
it was. But she looked at the camera like,
I spilled so much water all down myself. And Lucy caught it. And my shirt is soaked.
Well,
I just missed my mouth.
you have a drinking problem.
I don't know why. I started to tilt the can of water before it was even close to my mouth.
Your face was so good.
I was like, what did I say? I'm doing a really nice wine segment.
No, it was really good, I think. I'm sorry.
I was
wasn't
trying
listening.
to laugh quietly in
It was
my
really
heart.
good, I assume. I don't know.
All right, take
Anyway, yes, please go buy this. It's amazing. You will love it. Get it for yourself. Get it for your friends. Get extra so you can just take it to a housewarming party
You look
or
very
whatever
fancy.
without having to think about it. Look how cute the label is. Thank you to our artist, Danielle. She's incredible.
Would also make a really excellent Valentine's Day gift, which, it's never too early to start thinking
Never
about
too
it.
early. And when it's empty, you could do one of those, like, I saw it on the internet, crafts where you
could make it
turn
a
it into a
lamp.
candle or a lamp or something. Anyway, it's a
yeah.
popper. I am inserting our special edition Wine and Crime Gals wine key and all of her iridescent glory.
Yes, I have
Right
mine
into
right
it.
here too.
There's something real special about opening a Wine and Crime wine with a Wine and Crime wine key.
It's
Oh,
magic.
Get the
Mhm.
set.
Get it.
All right, are we ready to pop?
Let's do it.
Let's do
Here
it.
we go. Oh,
Perfect.
Wow.
Tap.
That was a gal's pop.
fucking nice, Pap.
Nice pop.
We're doing our first, I know this will already have happened by the time you hear this, but our first Patreon happy hour tonight. So I'm also just letting myself get a little toasty. I have
Oh,
a
yeah.
separate wine to go with that. So it could be a weird night.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm
And,
excited.
by the time this airs, the second Patreon happy hour should be coming
Coming up. Upcoming.
Coming
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 round the
up
mountain.
Millhouse.
coming round the mountain. I don't know why that keeps popping into my head today, but yeah.
You have a ghost in your blood. Do cocaine about it.
Drink a
All
shitload of wine. Drink a shitload of wine about it.
Yes.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
I'm just drinking my
Cheers.
shirt water.
Love your shirt. Just wringing your
Shirt
shirt out
water.
into a cup and drinking from it.
I'm not above it.
Done
Okay.
worse
Licking your
for
shirt.
less.
Well, cheers. And Lucy, what is our background and maybe psych for criminal sprees?
A little tiny dose of psych here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be talking mostly about spree killings, which are this is the only psych I have. They are most often motivated by thrill seeking as opposed to, other motivations. Like we're going to talk a lot about serial killers. So they have various motivations, sexual, whatever.
Okay, that makes sense in my case because this was
Yeah.
definitely a thrill-seeking situation.
Same.
Yeah. Also, have you guys seen the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas?
No.
Maybe. Isn't it
Writing
from
it
like the
down.
90s or early aughts?
Yeah.
Where he
it's
doesn't it
Michael
start
Douglas.
Doesn't it
Yeah.
start with him like in a car in traffic in LA and he just
Sure
like goes completely
does.
bonkers?
And
yeah,
he
okay.
goes to like a fast food place and they're like, oh, sorry, we're out of
Yeah,
and
he just goes off.
loses his mind.
Mhm.
That's a spree. That's a criminal spree.
Okay.
All right.
Makes sense.
It's a really good movie. I
It's
love it.
it's a movie. I wouldn't say it's really good.
It's a
I
movie
like it.
from the 90s, which means
It might
we are
not
drawn
hold up.
to it.
Yeah.
honestly, Michael Douglas in a crew cut equals
It
a good
works for
movie
ya?
to me. It works for me.
I'm gonna look.
Weird, but okay. Not
All
kink
right.
shaming, just confused.
That's okay. So a spree killer, sometimes called a rampage killer, is someone who kills 2 or more victims in a short time in multiple locations.
Okay.
The U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics defines a spree killing as killings at 2 or more locations with almost no time break in between murders.
Okay.
So
I am
one-
currently taking a screenshot of Michael Douglas in a crew cut because
It's
I
not
cannot believe that this.
It does it for
you.
Lucy. It's like
But it's his
Oh
whole
my
outfit.
God.
It's his whole outfit. It's his button-up
He's just in a
shirt, full
suit.
pen.
he's
No,
in
it's
like
not.
an ugly
looks-
suit
he
in
looks
the beginning.
It's a short sleeve
He works
button-up
at
shirt.
H&R Block.
He's going to work. He's
I
in like
know.
an ugly suit in a hideous car.
Okay, all right.
I don't get
And
I'm putting it on the drive.
it. Please do. I need
it might just be his like homicidal mania
Okay.
gets me going. I don't know.
It's not
Okay.
just about looks for this girl. She
Right.
likes. It's about what's behind the mask.
I'm holistic in that way.
What's below the crew cut.
I
Okay.
also had a dream the other night.
Oh, I know what that means.
About.
You guys, okay, I'm not going to say his name on air, but I will send the 2 of you a screenshot of his Instagram. He's a person I know in
Obviously.
reality, and he's an excellent musician. He's just not that attractive. He's not conventionally attractive.
Sure, okay.
He's just not.
He's just not.
Okay.
So
But you had a dream.
but in my dream, he was Beck the musician.
Oh, fun.
So I was like, he had a crush on me. He asked me out on a date. He wanted to go see a movie with me. And I was like, I'd love to. You're a very talented and famous person. I'd love to. And then like well into my dream, I was like,
What is going
I'm
on?
married. This is one of Corey's friends. He's deaf going to find out about this. I should have asked.
Oh, shit.
Always get permission from your husband before you go on a date with someone else.
In your
It's
dream.
about
Yeah.
consent.
My mom, she's going to kill me for saying this.
She doesn't listen. She's not going to know.
I know. She had a dream where she had a romantic lunch with Keanu Reeves.
A romantic lunch.
Nothing happened.
Does
Like
such a thing
nothing
even
phys-
exist?
Like nothing physical happened. They just sat down for a very pleasant lunch.
Wow. That's a racy one. Wild dream.
Well, nothing sexual, like objectively sexual, happened in my dream either. I was just like, so this is how polyamorous relationships start.
Oh, okay. All right. Nobody tell Corey.
I already told him, and he got kind of weirded out.
Okay.
I was
Moving
like,
on.
don't tell him. Okay, anyway, back to
Amazing.
spree killings. Okay.
Oh my
So-
God.
One characteristic of a killing spree, this is basically the main characteristic of a killing spree, is that there is no cooling off period, which is basically what could distinguish a spree killing from a serial killing, although law enforcement doesn't generally distinguish between the two. So, reminder that a mass murder is defined by one incident with no distinctive time period between the murders. So, we basically have mass murders, serial killers, and spree killers. Those are kind
Makes
of the
sense.
three types.
Makes sense. Yep.
And like one-off
Right.
killers. So this is from FBI.gov, and it's referring to a discussion among forensic professionals at a symposium in, I believe, 2005. Quote, the validity of spree murder as a separate category was discussed at great length. The general definition of spree murder is 2 or more murders committed by an offender or offenders without a cooling off period. According to the definition, the lack of a cooling off period marks the difference between a spree murder and a serial murder.
Okay.
Central to the discussion was the definitional problems related to the concept of a cooling off period. Because it creates arbitrary guidelines, the confusion surrounding this concept led the majority of attendees to advocate disregarding the use of spree murder as a separate category. So basically, define a cooling off period. Because
Right.
if you can't really define that, if it's the length of time, if it's what they're doing during that time, then you can't define a spree killer. Get it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does make sense, but I definitely am on the side of they are separate categories.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It feels like a separate psychology and motivation.
And
I
like
think
serial killers, not all of them, but like they tend to maybe like stalk their victim, or it is almost like a predator
And prey.
situation. Whereas with
A serial killer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with spree killers, it's more just like
Quantity.
it's
Random.
It's just random and opportunistic all the time, and just fucking throwing shit at the wall, kind of.
Yeah, it depends. I think to your point, psychologically could be different motivations. I agree with you that they should be looked at from that perspective as different. However, I think that because this is at an FBI symposium, they're also concerned with like clearance rates, statistics, things like that. The ability to categorize things as black and white. It's in this category or this category. And I think that was their primary motivation for not making this its own
Separating
category.
them. Yeah.
Okay, so just to finish this quote, this designation does not provide any real benefit for use by law enforcement.
Okay, so the
law
benefit
enforcement
of-
wise, yeah,
It's the same to them.
it's the same to them. They're going to investigate it the same way. They're going to prosecute it the same way. They're going to categorize it the same way. But when we're talking
that
of
also makes sense.
psychologically, there is value in the distinction.
Right.
So there are several definitions of spree killers, basically because there are several different opinions, like I said, of what constitutes a cooling off period. And here are a couple of examples from Wikipedia.
Oh, welcome, yeah.
Wikipedia.
Oh.
In in a paper called Conversational Issues in Criminology, Controversial Issues in Criminology.
Conversational to us.
Right.
Yeah. I like making controversial things conversational.
Yeah.
You too. What's the worst thing you've ever done?
Exactly.
Corpse dolls.
That should be a new mug. Making the controversial conversational. Okay, authors Fuller and Hickey write that, quote, the element of time involved between murderous acts is primary in the differentiation of serial, mass, and spree murderers, later elaborating that spree killers, quote, will engage in the killing acts for days or weeks, while the methods of murder and types of victims may vary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a paper or a book. It's called a publication.
A plup.
In a plup called Serial Murder, Ronald M. Holmes
Cash.
and Stephen T. Holmes define spree murder as, quote, the killing of three or more people within a 30-day period, and add that killing sprees are, quote, usually accompanied by the commission of another felony. So like
Grand Theft Auto, or like, yeah,
burglary, yeah,
bank
stuff like that.
robbing. Yeah.
So, I mean, according to these two definitions, you could categorize like Gary Ridgway as a spree murderer, potentially.
I mean, yeah, but he had a really long cooling off period, and like, I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I feel like sometimes serial killers
Will have sprees.
Once they escalate to a certain point, once they devolve to a certain point, they kind of become spree killers. But if you're taking into account their full history, then maybe that should, there should be still a distinction, because like Ted Bundy, for example, like he used to be much more of a strict serial killer with cooling off periods, but when he started to like fully fucking unravel, then it was like every day or every other day.
So again, when it comes to categorizing different killers or versus different crimes, like it's all over the place. The more categories you have, the more complicated it is.
Right. And people, we contain multitudes.
Exactly.
You're not just one thing.
Right.
Spread your wings, baby.
We're all multifaceted.
Not when it comes to killing. Don't.
That's all. I'm just saying in general, spread your wings.
Follow your passions unless your passions involve bloodshed.
Right.
Yeah. And then get help.
Doc space.
Seek therapy. Yeah.
Okay, so a word about that cooling off period, or what's called a temporal separation. And this is from Psychology Today. One of the many members of my harem.
One of your lovers.
Just take a number out of my black book.
Luck.
Quote, during the cooling off period between murders, a serial killer disappears from the public eye and resumes his or her seemingly normal routine and life. Incredibly, the life of a serial killer during the cooling off period, particularly if they are a psychopathic killer like Ted Bundy or Gary Ridgway, that is pathologically devoid of emotion or empathy, may appear completely normal to the unsuspecting observer. The cooling off period between murders is highly subjective, unpredictable, and it varies from one serial killer to another in terms of its duration. The length of the cooling off period can also vary between murders committed by the same serial killer. The duration can be from days or weeks to months, and in rare instances, even years. Like the BTK killer.
Yeah,
it was like a 20 fucking year span.
I mean, yeah, even Gary
like
Ridgway took a
sabbatical.
Yeah, even Gary Ridgway took several years off because he got married and he was like being a family man.
But there were instances
so
where he killed multiple people within a 30-day period.
Yep,
So
1,000%.
That was
like
my
both.
reference. Yeah, that was my reference about, he could be categorized as a spree killer.
Right, he was,
but
he was both.
He was so prolific and it was for such a long length of time that it just makes it confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love like a nerdy nerd Twitter battle.
Yes.
I didn't have a whole lot more to research like about things that we haven't already discussed before.
Sure.
So I found kind of an interesting little thing from Merriam-Webster, but we'll get to it.
Okay, hot.
This is real sassy. I think you guys are going to like it because I do.
Okay.
Back in 2015, the Associated Press style book caused quite a stir with a single tweet which read, AP style tip, the word spree usually is applied to shopping or revelry. Do not use in other circumstances, i.e. killing spree.
What? Okay.
What the
well,
hell?
Too late.
Sorry, Associated Press. Keep up.
Yeah.
I mean, the AP is usually not to be fucked with, but Merriam-Webster clapped back.
Yeah.
So this is what Merriam-Webster had to say because they came with receipts.
Oh, wow.
Our earliest recorded uses for spree come from the early 1800s, where it referred first to a lively and excessive outburst of activity. Playful boisterousness was the order of the day. Early citations mention ranting sprees.
Check.
Love.
Kenyon's king. Or place the word spree in the context of sporting, so like hunting or shooting, sport shooting.
Sure.
The argument that critics of the sinister spree make is that the word's original meaning, and indeed most of its historical meaning, refers to fun. The use of spree paired with killing or shooting is a mismatch, a fun word used to describe a horrific event. But the claim that it's a crime against the word's original and most common uses to pair spree with crimes is wrong.
Right.
Sorry.
And ridiculous.
Merriam-Webster writes kind of dryly. The true nature of the early sprees was revealed in a very early dictionary entry for the word. So, spree, a frolic, fun, a drinking bout, a party of pleasure. And this is from Francis Gross and Hewson Clark, Lexicon Ballatronicum, a dictionary of buckish slang, university wit, and pickpocket eloquence, published in 1811.
Okay, we're
Wow.
gonna need a copy of that. Put it on the company card.
Immediately.
Lexicon Ballatronicum. I need
Yeah,
that.
I know. I know. Spree came to refer to a drinking binge almost as soon as the word made it into print. The wild abandon and sketchy loss of control that this sense of spree connotes led to yet another sinister use of spree. So, this is a quote. For what were you sent here? A spree? For burglary? Yes, burglary. And this is a report from the Select Committee of the House of Lords appointed to inquire into the present state of the several gaols and houses of correction in England and Wales in 1835. So I think that was just a little bit of like a court transcript.
From a jail. Mm-hmm.
So a burglary spree is referenced here
From
in 1835.
I'm following
Suck my
nothing.
dick, Associated Press.
Yeah.
Oh, it goes on.
Oh,
Also,
I'm sure it does.
I just also want to say that, like, the activity definition, I think, makes the most sense. Because, a lively and excessive outburst of activity.
It's a verb.
Because, also, like, the moral judgment of what is good and what is bad, like,
It's subjective.
is subjective. And the person committing the spree, for them, it is fun
Right.
and
think the
lively
fact that it's-
activity.
I think
That's
the
what's
fact that
fucked up about it.
The fact that it's also like a candy might have confused
I know.
the
That's
AP.
all I've been thinking about this whole time.
I forgot about the candy.
Is the not that great candy.
They're
But do you
not
know what
that
I'm s-
great.
Do you know what I'm saying though? Like,
Yes.
yeah. And like the drinking thing, they were like, "Oh, that's a nefarious use." It's like, a drinking binge doesn't have to be nefarious. That can be
One
fun.
could make one's career out of it.
Yeah.
One
One
might.
could. One may have.
So,
Mayhaps.
Mayhaps one already has. Perhaps.
so Miriam goes on. From the mid-1800s onward, spree has indeed been associated with crime. Both killing spree and shooting spree come into print around the same time as the shopping spree does. The unmodified spree also referred more frequently to a drinking binge than it did to innocent revelry. Today, the unmodified spree is used just as often to refer to bad events like killings, shootings, bombings, and crime, as it is to refer to good or neutral events like shopping, spending, and mutual toenail painting, as one of our citations puts
The
it.
Fuck.
I do not like that.
We can go on
Ew.
a mutual toenail painting spree.
No, we cannot.
No. Only that
Shut
guy
that
in the
down.
grocery store who's into Lucy's feet would want to do that spree.
Barf.
I've been looking at my feet lately. I think it's time.
I
Not
still
getting any
have not
younger.
gotten
To make
a
some
penny
money off of them.
because of my
Those
missing
puppies
toenail.
to work.
I gotta pay for my bathroom remodel.
Ugh.
I know. My feet would not make any money.
I'm
Although I-
literally down a toenail.
There's
Yeah.
someone out there for every foot.
You're right.
I
There is a
did-
shoe for every foot.
I did recently come across a thing
There's a
on
pervy
Twitter
shoe for every foot.
The Amanda Jacobson story.
Oh.
where it's talking about the different types of feet. There's like the Egyptian foot, and it's all about like toe length and shape. Like the shape
You
of
need
the
to.
foot.
I
Send
want
that
to
to
take
me.
the internet away from you for like 1 week.
I need it. Email it to me.
Good
I know.
Lord. You too. You're both
Egyptian
cut
foot,
off.
Celtic foot, German foot, foot shape.
Trench
Meanings.
foot.
Here,
Diabetic foot.
Roman foot. Yeah, they're all different kinds, and I totally have the Norwegian foot. I'm
What
sending
a shock.
it to you both in the chat.
I probably have the English
thank
foot.
you.
I got a lot of English in me.
Well, it would be the Celtic foot then.
Ooh.
Or maybe the Roman foot, depending on...
You
Is
just
this
send
over?
me the chart. I have one more paragraph.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
So should you use spree to refer to a series of crimes? That is up to you. It's not bad advice to say that some people may think that crime spree implies that crime is fun, so you should carefully weigh your words when writing about the sinister. But if you choose to leave spree out of your writing, you cannot make that decision on the grounds that spree has always referred only to harmless, innocent fun. Because
All right.
it hasn't.
Because it has not. So get over it, AP.
So thank you, Merriam-Webster.
Holding
And
it down.
I just really liked that spat and
Yep. Love a good spat.
everything Miriam brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well done.
anyway, I was gonna talk about the candies, but it's just not that good.
It's not a good candy.
It's not a good
It's not
candy.
worth it.
Go
All
to
right, real
Sweet Tarts.
quickly, I'm going to need both of you to look at this foot chart and tell me where you
I-
land.
On it. Oh,
I'm somewhere between Egyptian, yeah, and Roman. Well, no, because my
I'm
second
not
two
Celtic,
toes are
that's
pretty
for
long.
sure.
Well, it's not pretty long. Is your big toe and your next two toes, are they the same length?
My big toe and second toe are almost exactly the same length, and then I have like the slope, the very even slope of the last three.
I think
So
I got
African?
I got the Norwegian foot because
Yeah.
my pinky toe is real small.
Yeah.
Weird.
Anyway, we'll post
that
this
on the drive.
blog.
Tag yourself.
Tag yourself. Let us know what foot shape you have. Okay.
Tag
Lord.
yourself.
All right. Are we ready for my case?
No.
I know you're not ready.
Maybe.
And it was also, like we said at the top, suggested by our fan picker, Alexis, because they were old friends with one of the victims in this case. So it sucks and it's senseless, and we need to do something about guns in this country. So, growing up, Amber Patton, and there are photos of her on the drive, and they will be on the blog. Loved animals, Batman, and the Green Bay Packers.
All right, we'll let that one go.
We will.
We're gonna forgive that.
She had
sin.
other positive qualities.
Yes.
So we will forgive the sin of being for the Green Bay Packers.
Because we care so deeply about Sparts.
Queen of Sports.
Sparts.
Queen of Sparks. God, your self-appointed title.
Gonna need a crown.
If
All right.
if the cleat fits, wear
Does
it, as
it
they
fit
say.
on your Norwegian foot?
Be tough. Okay. She was also an avid soccer player, and she began playing soccer in the first grade and then played on the varsity team at her high school, the Casa Grande Union High School,
Dang.
in her home state of Arizona.
Love
Aw.
So I didn't know that there were a lot of Packers fans in Arizona, but fine.
Love it.
She graduated high school with honors in 2004. She's basically our age, just 1 year older, and began attending Central Arizona College. But in 2008, Amber decided to leave college and to join the U.S. Army. School wasn't really for her. She had always kind of thought about joining the Army. Her family had some concerns about her decision because 2008 was a particularly scary time to be in the military. But they also weren't exactly surprised because they had known that this had always been something she had considered. And also the family had a long history of military service, and one of Amber's aunts, who she was very close to, had often spoken fondly of her time working as a nurse in the Air Force and how interesting it had been and how much she had enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So after training, Amber was deployed to Iraq and received several awards for her service. And there are photos of her on the drive in her uniform. She's just such a cutie.
Little peanut.
She just looks so like kind and wholesome and I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Her mother, Marilyn Sukla, remembers that, quote, she took a great deal of pride in serving her country. But like many soldiers, she also faced extremely traumatic situations while deployed, including the death of a close friend in combat. So after her deployment ended in 2011, she struggled with the decision of what to do next. So she wanted to remain in the Army as a career, but she knew that if she did re-up, then she would be deployed to Afghanistan sometime in the next 6 months, which is a very scary prospect. And also she had already been deployed to Iraq, so it's like,
She doesn't want to do it.
who wants to be fucking redeployed and also redeployed to a new
Tumultuous place.
tumultuous place that you have to kind of relearn everything? Like, it would suck.
Yeah.
And by this point, Amber was suffering from PTSD, and it seems like she knew that of herself. And so she didn't think that she could handle another tour of duty so soon. She needed to like decompress. And so she made the decision to leave the Army and move home to Arizona to be close to her family. So I thought that that was like a very smart and responsible
Self-aware,
choice. So at first she moved back in with her mother in Casa Grande where she'd grown up, but eventually she got her own place with roommates in Chandler, Arizona. And she remained extremely close with her family. They had a really good relationship. She was especially close with her younger sister, whose name she had tattooed on her arm.
Oh.
And then perhaps as part of her PTSD like healing journey, although our fan picker said that she remembers that this had also been something on Amber's mind even as far back as when she was in high school. She took this time now to begin working towards fulfilling one of her greatest wishes, which was to find and reconnect with an older brother who had been placed for adoption in New York State in 1980. So her family was supportive of this search, and they helped her, and she began looking into adoption records from the time. But New York privacy laws made the search really difficult, and as far as I know, I think they're actually still searching even now for this brother. They still haven't finished that. Above all, Amber was just known for her generous spirit. So in the words of her mother, quote, she was very outgoing, very loving. She would have given someone the shirt off her back. And then on September 19th, 2020, fucking worst year ever, at around 11 p.m., 34-year-old Amber became the victim of a senseless act of violence.
Oh, my God.
She was on her way home from work at a car wash and had given a coworker a lift home. Again, just like helping people out.
Being a good person.
And picked up some food for dinner before heading back to her apartment. Just like a totally normal night. Unfortunately, she had just randomly caught the eye of two teens who had just stolen some beer from a convenience store nearby. And then they had crashed a stolen car near her apartment, and then they like saw her and decided to follow her home.
God.
Oh my God.
Just totally random, wrong
Completely.
place, wrong time.
When Amber got out of her car in her garage and went to enter her home, they ambushed her. And the next morning, her roommate like came into the garage and found her dead and called the police.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
That's fucking awful.
So when investigators arrived, they found Amber's backpack and the dinner she had picked up dumped on the floor of a hallway.
Ugh.
Oh, sorry. She wasn't in the garage. Her body was on the bedroom floor. She had been shot multiple times. Police found bullet casings in both the laundry room and the garage. After killing Amber, the suspects had taken her phone and wallet and fled in her car. Really, what they wanted was the car.
Mm-hmm.
As police learned more about the suspects, they came to believe that Amber's murder had simply been a crime of opportunity by the two teens who were in search of a fucking another car because they just crashed their last stolen one.
Right.
Why do people steal cars?
These two, they literally were just out joyriding and
That's
That's not
fuckers.
shit you like get away with usually.
I mean, actually, you do get away with it a lot because police do not. There's like a huge issue, especially in Minneapolis right now, with like carjackings and car theft.
In Louisville,
And
too.
they're really whether cops just don't give a shit or we just don't have the resources and ability to like really find out who's doing it. Unless you're caught like pulled over in the act of doing it, so many cars get stolen and ditched, and you never know who did it. And so a lot of this does go without consequences. You just joyride around, you ditch the car.
Yeah. There are
I
so many
guess I've
fucking just abandoned cars around Louisville just sitting.
I've never considered stealing a car. So.
Well, no, I would just take my mom's car.
Steal
Back
my
when I
mom's
needed to
car.
steal a car, I would just steal my mom's car.
Nobody needs to steal a car.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when I needed to steal a car.
My driveway is so narrow that I think anybody who would think about stealing my car would just be like unnerved by the thought of wedging
Backing
into
it
my
out.
I would not want to
Just
back
drive.
out of your driveway.
No.
Fuck no. Or your parents' driveway.
No. That's the key. Don't get to not getting your
really
car
complex fucking driveway. That's your fail
A
safe.
duck uterus driveway.
Yeah, real twisty.
stolen. Trapdoors.
So according to Amber's mother, they wanted the keys to her car. Sorry, this is a quote. They wanted the keys to her car. She was such a kind, giving person. She would have given them the keys if they had asked.
She doesn't
They
wanna
didn't have
die.
to kill her.
She'd just hand it over. Yeah.
Yeah, and she would have.
Yeah. Well, and she's also a trained veteran. She probably knows how to assess risk
Right.
and
She
isn't
wouldn't
going to
have,
go
like,
down
caused
defending
shit.
her car.
De-escalate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they killed her for her fucking car.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
To just fucking joyride around in it.
Mm-hmm.
Investigators were able to use evidence from Amber's case, including surveillance footage from the nearby convenience store where they had fucking stolen beer,
Yeah, of course.
to identify the two teenage killers and tie them to a string of other crimes, a spree, if you will, in the area that had taken place since July 2020. And again, now we're in September.
Dang.
So these two were 16-year-old James Quintero of Tempe, Arizona, and 15-year-old Corbin McNeil.
Oof.
Oh my God.
Oof.
15 and 16?
Yep.
They're just little idiots.
Yep.
They're just little stupid idiots.
Oh
Yep.
my fucking God.
The 15-year-old Corbin looks like the Michigan school shooter a little bit.
He
Fuck.
does, yeah.
Yeah. They just think that they're hard
Hot shit.
asses. Yeah, exactly. So, in addition to murdering Amber, they had also been involved in a series of other shootings, a kidnapping, multiple carjackings, robberies, and another murder of a 28-year-old named Matthew Meisner. There's a photo of him on the drive as well.
Damn, they killed somebody else like all on the same day?
Not in the same day,
No,
but
that month.
since July.
yeah.
Oh, okay, right. But
July,
damn.
August, and September, yeah. Who was shot and killed a couple months before Amber was, well, out on a late night walk in Tempe.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
look at
Completely.
It's just so random. Like there isn't even really
There's no,
there's no way to
no,
protect yourself.
not at
He
all.
looks so sweet.
Ugh.
The teens had ambushed Meisner as he walked home from buying a snack at a convenience store. They demanded his wallet, which he was, I think, handing over to them, before inexplicably shooting him and fleeing. And then a close friend of his recalls that, quote, they didn't even take his wallet.
Yeah, they probably were so freaked out
Yeah.
after what they'd done that they just took off.
Yep. They shot him to rob him, and then they didn't even rob him. Not that it would have made it better in any way, but it just shows they're completely reckless and had no regard for life whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, and it's totally that age, too, where, like, I have to assume there's shit going on at home because it's very normal teenager behavior to test your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, like, such an escalation and such a dangerous escalation of that ingrained part of puberty where you do dumb
Rebel.
shit and you rebel and you see what you can get away with, but without, like, I don't know, like wraparound support and structure coming from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's, additional trauma or other shit that's going on with these kids, it's just like such a slippery, scary slope.
Unfortunately, I couldn't really find out anything about these two kids.
Which makes sense because they're minors. They're probably not going to like put all their shit out there. But
so I have no idea like what their home lives were like. If they
makes you wonder
if they were going home each night or not. Like as far as I know, there was nothing gang related. It was just these two doofuses.
Yeah, little dill holes.
Yeah, going out and doing all this completely on their own.
Yikes. Yeah, it's just it always makes you wonder like what the fuck is going on behind the scenes that's allowing the behavior to get to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not nothing. This shit does not just happen out of nowhere.
No.
But also I wonder if spree killers, because you said at the top that like spree killers can either be single or in pairs. And I wonder if it's
there's
more
like a ringleader
common for it to be more than one perpetrator working together because they like whip each other up.
It's like a mob mentality thing.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I could see that too.
Yeah,
But
more
we
so
won't
than
know
serial
because
killers.
the FBI has no statistics on spree killers.
Right. Because I wonder if either of these kids would have done these things
On their own.
They probably would have done some shit,
Yeah,
but
I could
maybe
see them
not
stealing cars
murder.
and doing stuff. Yeah.
I think in general, teenagers commit crimes in groups or pairs more often than individually.
Yeah, because it's about getting like
Fitting
status
in
and
and
attention
pressure.
and
Right. Damn.
So police retraced the movements of the teens and pieced together how they had also carjacked a man just after midnight on September 19th. So the day before eventually wrecking that car, like I said, just a couple blocks from Amber's apartment. So they had the stolen car they had carjacked. They hadn't just like they didn't know how to like steal a car that was parked.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, when was this?
September 2020.
So this is another thing that I've been reading about because there have been so many carjackings, not just car theft, is that like because so many cars that have been made in the last 10 years are like not easy to break into or hotwire, you kind of like need the fob to get the car to move.
Right.
That's like a big factor behind getting the car while someone's actively in it so that you can get the key fob to operate it.
Yeah, carjackings have gone through the roof in a lot of cities. I know they have here in Louisville.
My neighbors, like a year ago, she had just had a baby, like within the month before.
Oh my God.
And they had just gotten engaged. And like, for some reason, her ring was like on a table, like right outside their bedroom, like in the hallway. And at least two people, I'm pretty sure they caught the kids who did it, but it was like a group of teenagers. They broke into their home while everyone was sleeping, including the brand new baby, crept around the house, went into their coat pockets, like hanging up downstairs, found the keys, went upstairs to where their bedrooms were, stole her ring.
God.
And then made off with their cars and crashed them on the highway, but I'm almost positive they got caught.
Jesus.
But
it's so fucking scary.
like creeping around in their house in the middle of the night, digging through shit to find the keys. Ugh.
All of
It's
it is so
creepy.
scary. The carjacking thing is really scary. Carjackings were like a really big or still are, I'm assuming, a huge issue in South Africa for a long time. Zach was carjacked, or like there was an attempted carjacking on him our very last week there. And do you remember
tell them
that?
to go fuck themselves?
Yeah,
pretty
but
much.
I wouldn't recommend that. He just was acting purely on like instinct and adrenaline. So he, in the moment, was like, fuck off or whatever, and like drove over a median and away from them. But like, he didn't, it's not like that's what he had planned to do in that situation. He had just reacted. And like, the guy had a gun. Like, he could have been shot and killed.
Two kids and teenagers in
fucking
Minneapolis
know.
just died because they carjacked a car on the northeast side, and there was a police chase, and they like got into an accident just so that it literally split the car in half. The car was in two pieces, and two of them were ejected from the car and died like immediately.
Oh my God.
This just happened like a week ago. Like, it's just nuts what's going on.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
really scary.
Ugh.
Okay, so in the words of one sergeant who worked on this investigation, quote, it was almost like a case of Grand Theft Auto. So they were like acting
in
like
the
they were in
game.
a fucking video game.
Yeah.
Yep. Within a couple days, Amber's car was discovered near Florence, Arizona. It too had been crashed. So they're not even like selling anything for parts. It's nothing organized. It's just
Just a
fucking around.
joyride.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, still on their like, I don't know, I'm sartorializing, but their video game adrenaline fucking high, the teens kidnapped and carjacked another man in Mesa, Arizona.
Wow.
A few days later, the teenage killers were finally tracked down and arrested. Amber's mother later stated in an interview that, quote, them killing her ended the crime spree. If that's what it took to keep another family from going through what we're going through, then I know she didn't die in vain.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Jesus Christ.
So sad. And also, like, just how fucking, like, noble to even be able to
Frame
think
it
and
that
feel
way.
that. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like their whole family, at least she and her mom, had like huge hearts.
Yeah. So the teens, Quintero and McNeil, fucking Corbin, were charged as adults in a 25-count felony indictment. If convicted on all counts, they could face life in prison.
They should
Both
face
play-
life in prison for just 2 murders.
Yeah, they killed 2 people. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I feel
I know
like-
they're 15. I don't know. I have such conflicting feelings about all that shit, but there's
Like
this
being
is the
tried as
system we've
adults
got.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
being tried
so
as
sad.
adults when you're 15 and 16 is tough. At the
Yeah.
same time, what they did was really horrific. So
Yeah.
like there has to be a middle ground for literal children
Right.
who do really horrific shit. Like we have to come up with a middle ground that isn't trying them as adults.
right.
I don't know. At the same time, fuck these kids. But anyway. Both pleaded not guilty. And their trial was scheduled for June of 2021. As of now, I couldn't find any press coverage of the trial. It's unclear if
Stuff is still getting so delayed and
That's
changed
what I
because of
think.
COVID. I bet it's not happened yet.
I bet it's
Would
been
be my
delayed due
guess.
to COVID. I didn't see anything about it taking place. In March of 2021, a bill honoring their other victim, Matthew Meisner, was passed in the Arizona legislature. And the bill was called Matthew's Law, would make it easier for family and loved ones to enter the apartment of a deceased person in order to retrieve pets that are in there. Because apparently after he was murdered, the family
Oh, no.
struggled to be allowed into his apartment to take care of his pets. And that's all I know.
So ridiculous. My God.
That is absurd.
When
So-
it's a family member? Come on.
Well, yeah. So like Amber, Matthew was an animal lover, and the bill was inspired by the difficulty of his loved ones obtaining access to his apartment to retrieve his beloved cats after he died.
Oh.
So meanwhile, Amber's mother, Marilyn, has spoken publicly on numerous occasions about her daughter's legacy and the importance of being vigilant about personal safety, stating, quote, I I want to be an advocate for her. I don't want this to happen to another family.
Mm-hmm.
And like Amber was vigilant about her personal safety.
Right.
I think this mom she's just saying like, you always have to be aware of your surroundings because the random fucking shit can happen.
Yeah,
Because
apparently.
people are fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When asked her opinion of the perpetrators, she responded, quote, Amber was just full of life. She was born amazing. Amber will never be able to walk the streets. There's nothing in this world, no money, no nothing that can bring her back to us. I know my daughter and I feel that they should never walk the streets either.
Oh.
Can't blame her for feeling that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cannot blame her at all.
Well,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Amber. Your
Yeah.
life should not have ended like that.
Nope.
No. It's just so fucking fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Well,
Woof.
I need a refill.
Good. Get one.
Yep.
And I will turn the tables around a little in my
All right.
case.
Good. We're
I
gonna
got your
balance-
back.
We're going to
Okay,
balance out
thank
this
you.
episode.
We're going to balance it out. I had a feeling. All right. Are you ready for my case? Something a little
I hope.
gentler.
Fucking I hope.
A little. Yeah. There's no murder.
Just let
Okay.
it wash over me.
Yep. There's no murder. So that's a step up.
Okay.
Today, I'm going to be talking to you about Colton Harris Moore, a.k.a. the Barefoot Bandit.
Love it already. Love it.
Wasn't there a
Don't.
Barefoot Bandit? Okay.
Wasn't there a Barefoot Bandit? What?
In the show
done this.
Made?
Oh, I never saw that. I never
Oh.
watched it. So I
It was
don't
like
know.
there was a Barefoot Bandit. Okay.
Maybe.
Alright.
I was just going to say, don't give anything away if you've heard this.
Yeah.
No, it was in a
Um,
fictional. Well, I guess fictional. Well, I guess it was based on a book. Whatever. Just okay.
Ba-ba-da-ba. I'm just letting you run it all out. Letting it run its course before I continue.
Wait.
Wasn't
Were
that?
we just talking about
Ba-ba-da.
the...
I'm the scat man. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
He
It all
wasn't
come.
conventionally attractive.
Pop it up, up. Okay. Sorry.
He's not an attractive man.
I don't know why anyone fucking listens to us or gives us any kind of platform.
I have no idea how we don't lose every single patron every week. I don't know how we're not negative. Like, we owe you money.
He wasn't.
Wait. I have not even said a whole sentence yet. Okay. Colton is just a babe born in 1991 in Mount Vernon, Washington.
A barefoot
bachelor
babe.
named Colton.
Yes,
Yes,
he came out
just
as
came
gay.
out as gay, and I just watched his Netflix special.
Well,
Nice.
don't, because he's also an abusive little turd.
Never mind.
So fuck that guy.
Oh,
His parents split, and he was raised by his mother, Pamela, who unfortunately struggled in raising her son. Multiple calls were placed to CPS by neighbors suspecting neglect in the household. His father was not available to take over childcare because due to his substance use disorder, he was in jail for most of Colton's childhood. And though Pamela had remarried, his stepfather sadly passed away when Colton was only 7. So he had a very disrupted and tumultuous childhood, to say the least. Pamela knew. Pamela knew there was something, quote, off about her son. Her words.
Oh, no, Pamela. Oh, no.
Oh, Pamela, no.
well, a mother
Maybe there's
knows.
something a little off about Pamela.
I mean, there's a lot off about Pamela, but
Yeah.
a mother does also know.
Takes
but a
one to
mother
know
also
one,
might
Pam.
cause these issues.
yeah,
so.
yeah.
She often
they're her
said she
genes.
sensed. Yeah, exactly. She often said she sensed a very real disconnection between Colton and the people around him. He struggled in school and had violent outbursts fairly regularly, but when he was evaluated after a number of these outbursts, he said it was his mother who was breaking things in the house while she was drunk. I think there's a little, there's no way to know. I think all parties involved were a little bit of a mess at this point. I think it's a column A, column B situation, which really isn't Colton's fault at all. I actually feel
As
really
a
sad for this
child.
kid.
Even if he was breaking shit around the house,
He's a kid.
He's probably reacting to how fucking tumultuous that house is.
Exactly. So the poor kid just sort of went feral at 7 years old.
Oh.
The area he lived in had many vacation homes, and he would break into them regularly for survival. So he grabbed food, clothing, blankets. He would take his supplies and literally camp out in the woods for days at a time as a child, starting when he was 7.
I
And
think
CPS wasn't able to remove him from her fucking care, quote
I don't think
unquote.
so. I mean, nothing I saw said that they did. So I don't know.
Oh my God.
I think this is the same person that's in Maid.
The fiction, great.
It's not
Is it-
fiction.
I thought Maid,
It's based
is it
on
Maid
a real
an
book.
MTV show about,
Oh my God.
people?
MAID Maid, the Netflix. It's based on a book which
Oh.
was written by a real person. So I think
All right. I mean, maybe she knew this person. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Oh my God. Okay.
So he was caught and convicted for theft when he was 12 and racked up 3 more convictions by the age of 13. But we both know that he had like way more acts of theft and breaking and entering than he was ever caught for.
I know
Like-
what Lucy's talking about now. And yes, you're right. I think so.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
It's
you
clicked.
for the validation.
I'm sorry, Amanda. Don't
This
kill
is
us.
a literal nightmare.
You should watch Maid, though. It's really good.
It's
Great,
really
I will
good.
get to it if I can ever get through this fucking case.
MAID.
While in custody,
Lucy Mike inspired to drive you completely up the wall.
I'm gonna go on a spree. While in custody, he was evaluated further and diagnosed with ADD, depression, and intermittent explosive disorder, not IBS.
Intermittent
But we all know that's what
ass
it-
explosion
Disorder.
Jack.
His time served would be pretty minimal. He'd get caught and then spend like 10 days or so in juvie, do some community service, and then be released. I mean, he's 12, 13. Like, he's caught breaking and entering into vacation homes. They're not going to like throw him in jail.
Yeah.
And then he'd be released and just got to do it all over again. But in 2003, when he was caught with a neighbor's missing camcorder, he was handed his biggest potential sentence yet, 3 years in juvenile detention, which he skirted by escaping from the halfway house that was holding him until he was turned over to authorities. So like he was in this halfway house waiting to be turned over to juvie, and he took off, and he never served that sentence. He just ran away.
All right.
Cool.
And was like living in the woods or
God.
squatting in random houses for a while.
Oh my God, it's so scary.
So over the years, this guy basically turned into Frank Abagnale in Catch Me If You Can. Colton pulled off thefts across Washington, Idaho, South Dakota, Nebraska, Illinois, and Canada. How did he get all of these places, you ask? Well, he fucking flew
The
to many
fuck?
of them. He literally taught himself how to fly planes by reading stuff he found online, playing flight simulator computer games, like likely in the library and or homes he broke into, and watching a DVD entitled, quote, How to Fly a Small Airplane.
Oh,
Can't be that
my
hard.
fucking God.
Kenyan's
would
mom
s-
could do it.
Exactly.
I know. Yeah.
So he would steal small private planes and just go. He gone.
Oh my God.
He started off really only breaking and entering for survival, taking hot baths, eating food, sometimes ordering supplies with an unsuspecting computer or credit card.
Love
He
it.
literally ordered bear mace and night vision goggles once while he was broken into someone's house.
Oh.
Love
He
it.
did try to be a good Samaritan at least one time, once leaving in excess of stolen cash. He had like an extra $100 that he didn't need. So he left that with a note
That
at
he
a vet.
didn't need.
Yeah. He left that with a note at a vet clinic that read, drove by, had some extra cash. Please use this money to care for the animals.
Oh.
Fuck. I'm sorry. This man.
It's bonkers.
There's a lot.
So much to
happening
unpack.
Here.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Victimless crime. From 2008 to 2010. He
Yeah.
is the victim.
Yeah.
Mostly, but he did break into a lot of places, steal a lot of shit. But anyway, From 2008 to 2010, Colton was making his way across the country. He stole a truck in South Dakota, ditched it in Nebraska, grabbed another in Iowa, ditched it in Illinois, and along the way, he would be barefoot when breaking into homes and businesses, leaving his footprints all over the scene. In some instances, he would even outline the footprint with chalk and leave a little handwritten, "See ya," at the scene.
He did it on purpose?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Barefoot Bandit.
I know, but I thought maybe he just was like, I don't want to, like, make noise with my shoes on.
I mean, it could have started that way, and then he was like, wait a minute.
Or he just didn't like shoes, maybe.
Who knows? I don't like
He was
shoes.
feral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He raised himself in the woods and taught himself how to fly planes. This is the most confusing part, the Barefoot Bandit part, but I'm still not even going to try to pick it apart. Then in 2010, he stole a Cessna 400 single-engine plane from a small Indiana airport. He made it all the way to the fucking Bahamas.
Oh, stay there, honey.
And this is like the third plane that he'd stolen and crashed and then just took off.
He crashes the planes?
Oh, yeah. He's not great at landing them. I think he crashed too.
DVD cut off at that part. It started to skip.
Maybe. The DVD.
He didn't watch
scratch in the
disc.
DVD.
He didn't watch disc 2,
It was lost.
Descent and Landing.
So he made it to the Bahamas, where the plane was found crashed just offshore from the Great Abaco Island. All of
Crash
the areas.
into the ocean?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Bye-bye. Swim
I
away.
guess if you slow down enough.
I mean, he
don't
figured it
know.
out. I don't know. All of the areas where he'd either stolen or ditched or crashed had reports of increased break-ins. So it was like the authorities were onto him because it was like his MO was flashy.
Yeah,
Don't say. From the LA Times, quote, what became a one-boy cross-country crime wave, allegedly committing more than 70 crimes in 8 states and 3 countries. The losses in stolen or destroyed property, including luxury cars and at least 5 light aircraft, would top an estimated $3 million.
Oh, honey.
But he would always steal this stuff when people weren't around. So
Yep.
he wasn't like, okay.
He didn't hijack. There were no physical, he didn't have a gun.
No
He
violence.
no violence. He was an opportunist.
Wow.
Grab and go. So how did he fly planes without being caught? I definitely asked.
Yeah.
I literally
Aren't there
Googled.
radars?
Well,
If
that's
you're-
where I was
if
like,
you're
what the
low
fuck?
enough.
Let me get to it. Jesus fucking Christ.
I already knew that. Sorry. God.
This is I'm so glad we're going on like a 2-week recording vacation. Mama needs it.
Jesus.
Salon.com explains in an article about Colton, quote, but what about the fact that cops were hunting him? Would he not be detected by radar? The answer is no, not necessarily. By flying very low across sparsely populated areas where radar coverage is non-existent or sporadic, and or without using an ATC transponder, I can't imagine he ever turned it on, it would have been relatively easy for Harris Moore to fly undetected over hundreds of miles. Or if not undetected, then more or less ignored.
Wow.
Much VFR or visual flight rules, leisure traffic moves through what is known as uncontrolled airspace. It's like why we could fly drones and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
As the name implies, there is plenty of firmament out there in which there is no requirement to be in touch with air traffic control. So long as he kept clear of busy terminal areas and other restricted airspace, there would have been nothing terribly unusual about his radar blip had it popped up at all. It gets a little trickier when crossing the Florida coast and into the Bahamian airspace, but there are plenty of ways to slip through, particularly at low altitude. So he just stayed.
Did he have like maps?
Yeah, he must have.
He must have.
He gives new. Now, after that, I understand what flying under the radar even means.
Oh, yeah.
I had no. What does that mean? I had no idea what that meant. Lucy,
Good.
I did.
Good
You yelled at
point.
me for it.
you did right. That was half my case.
Flying
was-
under the
That was her
radar.
twist.
I lose all my padding when you give that away at the top. That was a whole paragraph. It was.
It's the least
much-needed
interesting
padding.
part of this case.
I know.
I
So
I
that's,
didn't know. I was
Thank
shocked.
you. I also was shocked. So that stolen Cessna crashed in the Bahamas would be his most memorable, most expensive, and final crime. The same week he crashed, he tried to flee the islands by stolen boat. Like, how else you're going to get out of the Bahamas, I guess.
He's fucking James Bond.
I know, it's nuts. Well, barefoot James Bond. Authorities were onto him at this point. The FBI had, like, a $10,000 reward out for his capture. Everybody's fucking looking for him. And in a dramatic end to a wild several years on the run, police stopped the boat he was on by shooting at the engine until it was no longer mobile. So they just
pretty
shot the
intense.
engine out.
That's pretty intense.
It's yeah, there was a shootout, but only one-sided because he didn't have a gun. He was taken into custody and returned to the States to stand trial. He was 19 years old when he was captured. Look at all he's accomplished. I mean, feral at 7,
Yeah?
captured at 19.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Lived
I hope this
many
motherfucker
lives.
escapes.
He's lived so many lives. Huh?
I hope he fucking escapes.
He doesn't, but it's okay. We'll get to it. This
Okay.
is weird. He made no attempt at denying his crimes, likely a smart move considering he was wanted internationally at this point, because he's like, he's done shit all over Canada. And so as part of the deal, he pled guilty to 40 felonies, so he was actually guilty of upwards of 100. And he was sentenced to 7 years in prison. His incredible trip made him a little famous on the internet, getting him 50,000 followers on Facebook and a $1.5 million movie deal for the rights to his story. I know there's like a documentary out about him. I don't know if there's another like big blockbuster movie, but
And can you sell the rights to your story? I guess if you
it's not a violent crime.
kill anyone.
He didn't
yeah.
kill anybody. So
Right.
there was nothing in his court case said that he couldn't do it. So he did
Wow.
it. And frankly, he needed the fucking money because like all of this, he got $1.5 million, but basically all of it went to his fines to like
Right.
recover all the shit he damaged and stole.
Right.
So it's not like he made any money.
Right.
It just went back to
Right.
victims
Went
of the
to
crimes.
victims, yeah.
That covers
Exactly.
half of
Half.
what he's, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're never going to get the rest of it back. So take what you can get. So he was released after serving 5.5 years. He was released in 2017, and he devoted his life to preserving the legacy of his mother, who had harmed and neglected him all of those years ago.
He wants to preserve her legacy?
Oh, yes. I chose that word specifically. So Pamela, 65 at the time of his release, had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. With no money of his own, he turned to the public to crowdsource funds to cover, quote, whole body cryopreservation for his beloved mom. He wanted her
that's
cryogenically frozen.
It's experimental at best.
I know.
I literally
Best.
just had a vein in my forehead start
Stop.
pulsating.
What's the
And how
best you could
insane
hope
this is.
for?
I
To
mean-
preserve, are you going to bring them back to life? Is it going to be a zombie situation, like a pet cemetery situation?
I think most people imagine the like consciousness downloaded into a robot or something kind of situation.
That's eerie. I don't like it. Let them
I would
die.
totally
Just
get
fucking
preserved.
Let the not.
If I
wouldn't-
have this kind of money at the end of my life, freeze me up, Scotty. Okay, I want
well,
it. I need
forgive
it.
me in advance for not visiting you because it creeps
That's
me
fine.
out. I'm just gonna let you die.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
let him
yeah.
die.
Leave
Would
me
you-
in storage.
Would you rather be and you have to choose
Storage.
you have to
Leave me in
choose one
storage.
or the other?
Hang me in LaChelle's Fine Foods meat locker. What? Would I rather what?
Would you rather be cryo preserved, frozen, and then brought back to life 100 years in the future? Or would you rather go back in time and you have to spend the rest of your natural life sometime in history?
Future. I want an iPhone.
There will be no Earth in 100 years, so that question's
it.
actually moot.
Just a quick return, and then we're wiped. There's no water. We're done.
Okay.
If
So
I only have
as
to
of-
go back 100 years,
No, you have to go back farther than 100 years.
No, I don't want to be on the food chain, and I want an iPhone. So we're done.
Well, you might be back on the food chain in 100 years.
That's true, but I'll be
That's
long
true.
dead. Well, yeah, but if I'm frozen. Okay, whatever. I could also be back on the food chain, but I'm going to take my chances with the future. I want to see aliens, all that shit.
I don't think I would take my chances with the future.
I'd go back.
You would
Scary
do
enough
better.
right now.
Do better in the Renaissance.
I would know what was going on.
Yeah, you'd be
Yeah.
aware.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm
So as
afraid
of
of
his-
the future. I can't.
I'm
do
afraid
it.
of the present.
I'm afraid of tomorrow. I'm afraid of
The
now.
near future.
Yeah.
Scary.
As of his release, Pamela, was still very much alive, but he wanted to preserve her after death. He started a fund with the goal of $230,000 to cover the procedure, and I assume storage, at Alcor Life Extension Foundation in Scottsdale, Arizona.
In Scottsdale. It all
Yeah.
circles back to
Scottsdale,
Arizona.
I think Scottsdale, unlike the believers at Eckankar, I think Scottsdale might be the center of the universe.
I think, yeah.
God
never
help us
been there,
all.
but it's random enough.
It's beautiful. It's not far from where all those like magnetic fields
Yeah.
are.
I mean, if you think
Sedona?
about it,
Sedona, yeah.
the universe is, infinite and ever expanding. So
Why
really,
couldn't Scottsdale be the
any
center?
point could be the center.
Yeah.
Every point is the
Every
center.
point. Isn't Amy's Bakery in Scottsdale that horrible, is it Kitchen Nightmare or the Gordon Ramsay, the fucking
Nightmares?
insane, yeah, the fucking insane couple who owns that bakery.
Maybe.
And she like talks to her cats. I mean,
We got to do a
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale show so we can go find that.
Yeah, I'm not up on any of that.
And I want to get a tour of this facility. I want to see the storage. So this facility famously stores the preserved corpse of Boston Red Sox player Ted Williams.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Queen of
Kenyon,
sports. Now you
why
got another
should we
feather for your
know
cap.
about Ted Williams?
I don't know, but
She's the queen of sports.
his bat is in the Louisville Slugger Museum.
There you go.
Oh,
So why would Colton want to offer this gift to his abusive parent? He said, quote, "I made my own choices," he insisted, even though court records show he told a psychiatrist that his mother was an abusive alcoholic. So he's like, I acknowledge that my upbringing was shit, but I chose
But I
to
still
run
love
away
my mom.
and do all this shit. And yeah, I still love my mom. So when explaining why he would do this, Colton said, quote, "As a son, I regret that her hopes and dreams never came true." Poor guy.
Colton, you're still so young.
I know.
yeah.
still
Don't
could.
take on that mantle of
But
your
his mom
mom's
is
guilt.
dying.
Okay.
And he's saying, he said her hopes and dreams didn't come true. So he wants to preserve her so she can come back later and fulfill her destiny, I guess.
Okay.
I don't think this is in the cards for Pamela, however, since when the article about this was written, he had only $2,115 toward his $230,000 goal from 19 contributors. Quote, "Sometimes it is difficult to accept what we cannot change, but I salute your attempt to try," one donor wrote.
Well, they
It's-
get that money back if it's not reached, if you don't reach the goal, right?
Not necessarily. If he's using GoFundMe, that money goes to you no matter how much is raised. If you're using something like Kickstarter, you have to get your goal before they take your money.
I
But
got
think
the
this
two
is like
confused.
they're very similar, but I think this
Okay.
is like a GoFundMe situation.
Okay.
The article I was reading did not link to it, which I think is probably smart, but also
Yeah.
I want to find it.
Please
You
don't.
would've
I
been-
mean,
Don't
All
don't
the
give
best.
him
I'm not
gonna
money,
give.
all the
Amanda.
best to Colton, but like,
Just
and,
wanna
and
scroll.
Pamela, I guess, but like, listeners, please use discretion with your donations, and there are better causes. is
I
all
don't
I'm
know.
gonna say
I don't know.
it's your money, but
This one's up there. Free Pamela. Freeze Pamela.
Freeze, Pamela. Oh, your face. Your fucking face.
I just workshopped that in front of you.
I know it was great.
I started with
Hashtag
free Brian
freeze.
Hathaway, then I went to free Pamela, and then freeze Pamela.
We all heard
Freeze
it.
Pamela.
We watched it happen on your face.
I am shocked. Okay,
Hashtag
Last-
freeze.
last little bit. In an interview he gave while in prison, he expressed his hopes and dreams for his future, and he hoped that included working in aviation.
No shit.
I mean, why not? He fucking taught
Are they
himself how
gonna
to fly
let him?
planes.
I don't know if they let felons become pilots? I don't
know.
know.
Probably
They
not
had
a
40
commercial
felonies.
pilot.
No. He doesn't want to
No.
be a pilot. He doesn't want to be a pilot.
Okay.
There are several,
The
he
landing,
says,
never.
yeah, he never stuck the landing. He does not want to be a pilot. Quote, there are several industries I want to go into, but that's definitely my main goal, building airplanes. So I'm sure he could do that.
Okay.
He said, quote, that's it. That's all he wants to do. While I'm not sure if that played out or is playing out the way he hoped, he did have one secure job offer upon his release from his own attorney, who also apparently, at least for a brief period, defended Ted Bundy.
Okay.
So this guy's like, he gets around.
Okay.
He said he needed an assistant around the law office. Quote, he's smart and organized, his lawyer said. We have lots of filing and organization we need help with. So they offered him a job.
I just
love
don't
it.
know that I would trust this criminal mastermind.
I mean,
with,
I think
all
I
this
would.
sensitive information, but
I think I would, because so much of his existence was like stealing and hopping around mostly for survival. He wasn't, he like gave money back when he had more than he
Yeah,
needed.
that's
He
true.
wasn't like stealing people's identities. He was like using a credit card that was left out to buy night vision goggles. Like he doesn't
I
have
trust
anything.
him.
And he's
I would
kind of
trust
stealing
him.
from rich people if he's
Yup.
breaking into vacation homes and stealing small private aircraft.
Fucking get it.
okay with it.
Robin Hood.
He's
Yeah.
a Robin Hood for himself, but I love it. And the dogs and cats and other small animals. So whether you believe in his mission or not, Colton holds firm, quote, the opinions of uninspired people don't matter for anything. Just believe in yourself, he wrote on the GoFundMe. And I
Oh.
can drink to that.
All right.
To Pamela. Hashtag freeze Pamela.
Hashtag freeze Pamela.
Hope you're doing great,
Cheers.
Pam.
FP.
And a very special thanks to our fan picker, Alexis Lee. And we're also going to drink in memory of your dear friend, Amber.
Yep.
Oh, Amber.
God bless the vitamins.
Here's to Amber and the
To
vitamins.
Amber.
I'm not supposed to cheers with water, so I'm going to kiss.
Oh,
Mwah.
I've got water. Sorry. I'm thirsty.
Oops. You cursed.
All right. We love you all. We'll talk to you next week.
Love ya.
Bye-bye.